Egyptologists took increasing interest in the scientific value of mummies. Today, Egyptian mummies are still contributing to medical science in ways never before envisioned. At the Royal Infirmary in Manchester, England, an anonymous female mummy christened 1766 is being prepped for a unique study. Looking on is Rosalie David, one of the foremost authorities on mummies and ancient diseases. Today, as part of the famed Manchester Mummy Project, 1766 is being examined for the first time using one of the most powerful X-ray machines available. Her exquisite coffin is gilded and inlaid with semi-precious stones. But what's inside is far more valuable to medical science. Using a technique called endoscopy, a tiny camera is inserted into the mummy through an opening in the bandages, and its progress tracked on a video monitor.
There's a packaging at the top. Now is this side I need to stay.
You're on the left now.
This was really a breakthrough which the Manchester team pioneered back in the mid-80s, because it means that we are virtually non-destructive in our examination of the mummies and in being able to take samples which can then be studied.
To avoid contamination from packing materials and centuries of environmental pollutants, the tissue sample is taken from deep within the body. Tissue samples are vital to studies of ancient diseases, but today the team is also launching a long-term investigation into the use of pain-killing drugs in ancient Egypt. Although 1766's gilded mask suggests she was from a rich family, she may have contracted a painful and ultimately fatal parasitic disease. If so, drugs may have been given to her to alleviate her suffering. While their existence has not been proven, plants such as poppies have appeared in tomb paintings throughout Egypt, hinting that drugs like opium may have been used much earlier than ever believed. Special vessels resembling poppies have also been identified as opium holders, suggesting that opium was widely traded. The possibility that the Egyptians may have used drugs as painkillers intrigues anesthesiologist Dave Counsell, a consultant to the Manchester Mummy Project.
It's quite clear that drugs such as opium were in widespread use at around the time of Christ. There's written evidence describing opium, the harvesting of opium, its use as a painkiller, and indeed the side effects and problems of addiction due to opium. But what we don't know is how it was used before the time of Christ. By sampling human remains from various periods of history, we hope that we can identify when these drugs were introduced into usage and really push back the history of these drugs, perhaps as far back as 3000 BC, if not earlier.
Drugs which have been ingested leave chemical fingerprints in a body. To find them, the tissue sample is being reduced to a liquid, then a gas, or analysis by a mass spectrometer, which will determine its chemical composition. If any narcotics are present, even minute proportions will be detected. The technique can also determine if drugs were administered while 1766 was alive, or whether they are byproducts of the mummification process.
The drugs we'd be particularly interested in are the strong, powerful plant-based drugs that we still in fact use in modern medicine today. Drugs such as morphine and codeine, which are both powerful painkillers and both derived from the opium poppy. We'd be interested in cannabis, which we know comes from the hemp plant and which we know was around in ancient Egypt as far back as 3000 BC, because we know they were making ropes.
While the verdict is not yet in on drugs in the ancient world, mummies will soon be entering another exciting new realm of science. Locked inside them are priceless fragments of DNA, each containing potential clues to the origin of a deadly disease. Researchers hope that by tracing their evolution, they may find antidotes for malaria and hepatitis, and these ancient killers could one day be eradicated. The making of a mummy was only the first step in the quest for eternity. The funeral followed a fixed sequence of events, beginning with a procession from the family home. For a real send-off, professional mourners streaked with dust were hired to pull their hair and clothes. Next came servants carrying the dead's personal possessions. Until now, the body was still considered an empty shell. To restore its senses and bring it back to life, the most important ritual was the opening of the mouth ceremony. A papyrus in the British Museum shows a priest wearing the mask of Anubis, holding up a mummy. The jars represent cleansing. The adze was used to touch the eyes, ears, mouth, and nose of the mummy. Symbolically opening each of the senses brought the body back to life. Finally, the coffin was placed in the burial chamber and the tomb sealed. In Egyptian tomb paintings, their owners and their families usually appear healthy and in the prime of life. But their servants and ordinary workmen appear with a wide variety of ailments, reflecting the harsh realities of life. For the past 3 years, Margaret Judd of the Sudan Archaeological Research Society has been exploring a cemetery in northern Sudan to find out how the dead really lived. So far, she's excavated several burials located near one of Egypt's trade routes to Central Africa. Their bones and teeth confirm that the life of a trader was not always easy.
This individual here is a young male, approximately 25 years of age. And you can see that the teeth are abraded, which is due to cultural practice. That can be caused by the diet